Welcome to CFSS TV. We are discussing today mastering applicant tracking systems. I'm Ron Weber, and this is Mohammed Fahim.
Hi, Ron.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. What are applicant tracking systems?
I'm so glad you asked that. Okay. Every time now that you apply for a job, remember how we talked about in the job search techniques segment about how it's no longer your father's job search, right? Or your mother's job search for that. Things have changed. So you go online and you start applying, and suddenly you're redirected to another website. Mm-hmm. Most companies are using some kind of an applicant tracking system, especially the big ones. They can be called with different names, but ATS is a common name that has come up. So this is basically a computer program that is receiving your information, and then it is comparing it to what the employer has programmed in it as far as the job description is concerned, and taking the information from what you are submitting and parsing it and seeing how much does it match what the employer is asking. So it's like a human being. I remember in my office previously, there was one of the gentlemen there who had retired from a job with a major company as the director of the regional manager for human resources. And he used to share stories about how the employers, his bosses, would come up to him, and he would get so frustrated sometimes that he would just throw up the resumes that were there, the paper resumes, catch the first few that came in, and call those candidates in for an interview. He may have been joking about it, but those days are gone. A human being is not looking at your resume till much later in the process. Okay, in our seminars, we actually have got some slides that we share with you. These are screen grabs of what the applicant tracking systems are actually showing to the recruiter. The recruiter is not even seeing your resume. It is seeing a report that is generated by these computerized programs. So in short, applicant tracking systems are a way that employers have now glommed onto to save time and money, to come up with a list of qualified candidates. Now, here's the interesting thing. Research is showing us that 47% of resumes that are being submitted are actually making it through the applicant tracking system. 53% are not even making it through the applicant tracking systems. But going back to our job search techniques, remember how we were saying that now you're competing with anyone who has access to a computer. So the employer is not really that worried about missing out on the 53%. The 47% that are coming through are much more closely tied to the job description. So they have a better pool of candidates to select from. Okay, that is where it is so important to learn what applicant tracking systems are, what are they looking for, how do you write a resume that can bypass or go through the applicant tracking system filters. There's no book written on this, folks. You can find more information on our website, www.cfss.us. Attend one of the free seminars that we do to learn more about these things. Seminars are usually about 3 to 4 hours. The seminars are free, but remember in one of those seminars, someone got up and said, man, this is like, it's $1,000 value for me. I learned so much. Yeah, you are going to learn a lot about what makes you a good candidate today. How do you get in front of that recruiting manager? So applicant tracking systems are the gatekeepers now, not the executive assistants that used to be the gatekeepers in the past, right? Mm-hmm. That is what we can share with you. That is where we can share some of the information that we have learned about how to master applicant tracking systems.
So why do employers use these applicant tracking systems?
Again, a very good question. It is all about, when I was a business consultant, when I was doing, consulting with major businesses, we were trying to get them to lower their cost, increase their profits. I was one of the bad guys, if you look at it from that point of view. Okay, how many people you can hire, how many people you can fire, who can do the job better, all of those kind of things, right? The cost of human resources, personnel, is the highest cost of any business. Okay, it's not so much the facilities or the raw material. It is right up there. So they are trying to see and come up with ways, and that's where technology is coming in. I don't know how many people are aware that there is a human resource technology conference every year in Chicago, okay, and maybe in other parts of the country that I'm unaware of. When I first got into working in this field, the first human resource technology conference had like 138 vendors. This was about 10, 11 years back. Last year before, over 1,000 vendors who are coming in with technology for human resources. The cost is going down. More and more companies are able to afford it. So from an employer's point of view, it lowers the cost that they have associated with identifying a candidate. So yeah, I mean, if I'm a business, I'm trying to lower my cost. That's where their their dog in the fight is.
Great. How can we ensure that our resume makes it past the ATS onto a recruiter's desk so that they'll call us in?
That is $1 million question. That is $1 million question. Okay. First off, let's look at, and we can, we'll talk more about it when we talk about resumes, but just to give you an intro and heads up to it. Your typical resume was like 3 different kinds of resumes that we all grew up with. You had the chronological resume, okay? So you kind of sat down and wrote what you did at which company from which date to which date. Then there was a functional resume, especially if you had gaps in employment. So you focused more on the functions, the duties, the value that you brought to the employer without really talking so much about the dates. You've had some gaps in between. Then there was a combination resume. Things have changed. Okay, remember, it's no longer your father's job search.
Right.
It is now the electronic resume. So the electronic resume has a different format, it has a different purpose, and it has different techniques that you need to learn. Again, unfortunately, I don't find too many relevant books out there. Almost any book that you find out there on resumes and job search, you have books like this thick. Give me a break. Those books are not working, folks. Please don't listen to that information. Okay. Come and learn something about what makes the electronic resume and how you can, ensure that it makes it past the ATS onto a recruiter's desk. We'll be happy to teach you. Again, there's free seminars, there's going to be webinars, there's going to be information on our website, www.cfss.us. Take advantage of these things. Spread the word. Talk to other people. The employers want you. Please remember this. When I talk to people, I say, okay, what is the unemployment rate? And everybody gets up and says, oh, it's the lowest that it has been in a while. Yeah, what is it? 4.6%, 5.8%. My question is, what is the unemployment rate for the group that is here right now? What is it?
100%.
100%, right? So if you don't have a job, please don't look at those numbers. First off, those numbers are made up. That the methodology is so wrong. I have posted an article on my LinkedIn profile, on my LinkedIn and on my webpage on LinkedIn. Go check it out. How is the real unemployment rate calculated? What is the real unemployment rate? You'll be shocked, folks. Okay, so yeah, real unemployment is much higher than what the numbers you see out there. So applicant tracking systems are going to be extremely important. Writing the resume, formatting it correctly is very important. Do you know that? It's not just the content. How do you format the resume? How do you save it? How do you submit it? There are different ways that you have to do it, and we'll be happy to share that information for you in one of our webinars or seminars.
Great, Mohammed. Thank you. Those are all really great ideas.
You're welcome, Ron.
And thank you for watching CFSS TV. Come visit us on our website at www.cfss.us. I'm Ron Weber, and this is Mohammed Fahim.